I'm stood on the cold, hard ground, my breath coming out in visible puffs, staring up at the sky. It's one of those moments, one of those, is this really happening kind of moments? I feel a rush of emotions, excitement, awe, disbelief. But there's one thought that's just taking over everything. Wow, I never thought it'd happen like this. Hey, it's Alex. Right now, I'm in Iceland. Yes, Iceland, the land of fire and ice where you can walk between tectonic plates, dip in geothermal pools, and chase waterfalls that make you wonder if you've somehow ended up in a fairy tale. The best part of this trip isn't just about sightseeing. It's about ticking off a major item from my bucket list, the Northern Lights. But before we get to that part, let's talk about the journey. My adventure kicks off in Reykjavik, a city where it's impossible to be bored. First of all, the place is full of colorful buildings that make you feel like you've walked into a painting. Every corner has some funky street art or cafe with a name you can't pronounce, but you still want to go inside because it smells like heaven. There's a certain charm to Reykjavik. It's like the cool, artsy cousin of the big European cities. The first major landmark I hit is the Hallgrímskirkja Church. And wow, this thing is enormous. It looks like something from a sci-fi movie, all futuristic and towering over the rest of the city. I decide to go to the top, because if there's one thing I've learned in all my travels, is that you should always go to the highest point. The view doesn't disappoint. Reykjavik from above looks like a toy city with all its little red and blue rooftops, and in the distance, I can see the snow-covered mountains. My first real adventure in Iceland starts the next day with the Golden Circle. It's the tourist route you can't skip, and for good reason. First stop, Thingvellir National Park. Did you know it's the only place on Earth where you can walk between two tectonic plates? Yeah, I didn't either until I was literally standing between North America and Europe. If that doesn't make you feel like a tiny speck in the grand scheme of things, I don't know what will. The plates are pulling apart at something like 2 centimeters a year. But don't worry, I didn't feel any sudden earthquakes. The landscape is surreal, like something out of a sci-fi movie, with jagged rocks and vast stretches of land. I walk through the Rift Valley, which is dramatic and rugged, and the air here is crisp, so crisp it almost feels cleaner than anywhere else in the world. Fun fact, the ancient Icelandic parliament, Althing, was held here in the open air over 1,000 years ago. So, not only are you walking between continents, but you're also standing on some serious history. After Thingvellir, it's time to check out the Geysir Geothermal Area. Now, I've seen geysers on TV, but nothing compares to the real deal. Strokkur, the main geyser here, doesn't mess around. Every few minutes, it erupts, sending boiling water 30 meters into the air. If you're standing too close, you'll get a bit of a surprise shower, which of course I do, but it's all part of the Icelandic experience, right? Next, I head to Gullfoss, one of the most famous waterfalls in Iceland. It's a 2-tier waterfall crashing down into a deep canyon, sending up mists and creating rainbows on sunny days. The sheer power of it is breathtaking. Standing there, I can't help but feel incredibly small in the face of nature. Also, if you get close enough, you might get drenched, which adds to the fun. Well, as long as you've got waterproof gear on. After a day filled with geysers, tectonic plates, and waterfalls, I'm ready for some relaxation, and what better place for that than the Blue Lagoon? The milky blue waters are so inviting, and the fact that they're warm is an added bonus, since Iceland's weather doesn't exactly scream tropical. The water is rich in minerals, which apparently does wonders for your skin. All I know is that soaking in the Blue Lagoon with steam rising all around me and volcanic rocks in the background feels like I've stepped into another world. It's one of those moments where you just close your eyes and let the warmth sink in. After a good soak, I feel like I could take on anything, so the next day I make my way to Jökulsárlón Glacial Lagoon. Now, this place is like stepping into a scene from Frozen. Huge chunks of ice, some bright blue, some crystal clear, float in the lagoon after breaking off from the Reykjavik Glacier. The silence here is something else, broken only by the occasional crack of ice shifting or a seal popping its head out of the water. I hop on a boat tour to get a closer look at the icebergs, and it's almost surreal to be gliding past these towering ice sculptures. Speaking of ice, Iceland has its share of glaciers, and one of the best ways to explore them is through glacier hiking in Vatnajökull National Park. It's home to the largest glacier in Europe, Vatnajökull, and hiking across it is like walking on another planet. The ice is thick and ancient, with crevasses and blue ice tunnels that make you realize just how old and powerful these glaciers are. I join a guided tour because, let's be real, I have no idea how to safely navigate a glacier on my own. Pro tip: don't even think about hiking on glaciers without a guide. Seriously, it's not worth the risk. But the thing I've been waiting for, the big event of this whole trip, is the Northern Lights. This is it, the moment I've been dreaming about for years. Seeing the Aurora Borealis has been at the top of my bucket list, and Iceland is one of the best places to make that dream a reality. The conditions are perfect. It's a clear night and I'm far away from the city lights, somewhere in the Icelandic wilderness where the sky stretches on forever. At first, nothing happens, and I start wondering if it's all just a myth. But then, slowly, the sky begins to change. A faint green glow appears on the horizon, and it's like the sky is coming to life. The lights grow stronger, stretching across the sky in waves of green, pink, and purple. I stand there, mouth open, completely awestruck. It's like the universe decided to put on the greatest light show just for us. The colors twist and swirl, and for a moment, time stands still. There are no words to describe the feeling of seeing the Northern Lights in person. Pictures just don't do it justice. I never thought it would be like this. It's magical, humbling, and honestly, a little emotional. After what feels like hours of standing in the freezing cold, unable to tear my eyes away from the sky, I realize I'm starving. So I head to a nearby cafe to warm up and grab a bite. Iceland's food scene is all about comfort, and after a day of chasing nature's wonders, I order the classic Icelandic lamb soup, kjötsúpa. It's hearty and warming, full of root vegetables and tender lamb, and the kind of meal that makes you feel like you've just been hugged from the inside. For dessert, I can't resist trying Icelandic pancakes, or pönnukökur. These thin, crepe-like pancakes are served with jam and whipped cream, and they're the perfect sweet ending to the day. As I sit there, warming my hands around a cup of coffee, I can't help but smile. Iceland has exceeded every expectation I had, and the Northern Lights were the cherry on top. I've seen glaciers, stood between tectonic plates, been misted by waterfalls, and watched the sky dance in a way I never thought possible. Iceland isn't just a place, it's an experience. It's the kind of place that leaves you feeling small, but in the best way possible. Have you seen the Northern Lights? Is this on your bucket list? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more like this. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and adventure aloud.